Hello, friends. This is our Wednesday Grace time for us to be together virtually and to reflect on everything that is going on in our crazy world right now. Um, Recently, I've been reflecting on what makes me happy and how to be happy or continue to be happy when there is not much to do or when I am running out of things to do. And I thought of a time when I literally had nothing to do and yet I was having a lot of fun. During the summers of college, a couple of summers of my college career, I worked on an Indian reservation in South Dakota for an organization called Remember. The mission of Remember is to repair the broken relationship between the Native peoples and the rest of the population of America. And they do that by building wheelchair ramps and decks for people who have problems getting into their homes, or building and delivering outhouses to those without running water, or skirting trailers to help lower electricity bills. My personal favorite was delivering bunk beds to families with small children to see the look on those kids' faces when they realized they were getting not only a bed to sleep in, but a cool bunk bed for them to sleep in. So one day, this particular day, we were going further out than normal to help a family, and sometimes the family worked with us, sometimes they didn't. It just depended on the family. And we are going about 2.5 hours away, which like I said, is further than we normally went. It was a rainy and cold day in late May, and the houses on the res are sometimes really far off of the main road, which meant you had to drive on grass or maybe a dirt path to get to, because not a lot of driveways are paved on the res. And so because of the rain, the path that we drove on was really muddy. And so we got stuck in the mud and we didn't even make it to the house that we were going to. We didn't even meet the family we were helping that day. We were working with that day. And so because we were so far away, we had to wait for a few hours until someone from one of our other work sites, we have multiple work sites on the same day, one of our other work sites with a dually with one of our big trucks could leave that work site to come and rescue us and get our truck out of the mud, or our van out of the mud. And so we were literally in a field in the middle of nowhere. And so I was with a couple of my coworkers, and so we were having a good time. We had a few volunteers with us that were out that week helping Remember. And so we made the most of it for 2 or 3 hours that we had to wait, but we were really glad to see our other staff member coming to rescue us, and we were really, really glad to be back at our home base. One of the places I've seen the grace of God recently, and that day on the res, was the ability to choose happiness, and the ability or the gift of happiness, the gift to be happy. I think our world, especially right now, has so many things that can make us sad or angry, and sometimes we do need to sit in our grief or sadness, those unhappy feelings, and just be sad for a while. And it's needed and it's okay. And I think it's okay and needed to choose how to react to such a strange time in which we are living. We can engage the grace of God through choosing how we respond to this difficult time, and choosing to look for things that make us happy. like I said before, I'm getting really bored and running out of things to do. I think we all are. We're ready for social distancing and quarantine to be over as our world is slowly but surely opening back up. But we understand the importance of it, and so we are staying in our homes like we are told. And so we have to use our imagination to keep us entertained. And I wonder if imagination is the key to thriving instead of just surviving during this quarantine time. If you have ever seen kids playing, they can make up games and make up rules for those games on the spot, and they can keep themselves entertained with those said games for a while. And I think that's incredible. And some might say the older we get, we lose our imagination because we stop playing. In the Presbyterian youth world, we say that recreation keeps fun and imagination alive for all ages. And I think that's why I love my job so much at Second Pres. One of the reasons, every Tuesday during the winter months, we have this thing called Open Gym, led by Toby Nutt and Todd Lyles, and they lead games for our youth for 2 hours. And it's just a time for our kids to come and play games. Some of them made up, some of them real, like kickball or badminton, which we're all bad at. And so it's really funny for us to watch, especially probably Todd and Toby, to watch us fail. And so I think it's incredible to create this space where our youth, who are so busy in their lives, usually can just have the space to come and play and have this time for recreation. There is a contemporary theologian, Jurgen Moltmann, who has this theology of play, and says that God's creation is God playing. That there was no need for God to create this world, or no need for this world to exist, but God did create it, and God did have to decide to create it. And that, Moltmann says, that is a sign of God's divine love that exists, and an expression of God's joy. He also clarifies that this is the world does not exist for God's pleasure, and that God is not toying with us. I think that's an important distinction to make. Creation does exist, however, as a place of relational encounter. God invites us to be in relationship with God's self. And God is moving it and working in and around us. And God wants to be in relationship with God's creation. And because of God inviting us into relationship, Moltmann considers theology to be a form of play. In theology, we are able to play freely with thoughts, words, images, and songs with the grace of God. We are able to use our imagination to form new theories or new thoughts, to think deeper about theories or theologies about God. And that is using our imagination to grow deeper in our faith, deeper in our relationship with God. And so I hope you will embrace this time of slowing down to use your imagination to envision a new way of being in this world, which is what imagination is. And I hope you envision a new way of being in this world, not only for yourself, but in how you live your life as a Christian. But also, I hope you take some time to envision a new way, or envision what your faith looks like because of COVID-19. May the peace of Christ be with you all.